Hello and welcome to another Industry Live. I am ThatKimberly.
And I am Trisha.
My
This
co-host
Trisha.
there, Trisha. Sorry, I know which way am I supposed to be pointing?
Yeah.
And we are here today to cover Industry Live with. We'll be introducing our guest Ryan here shortly. With Caregiver Solutions. And before we do that, I want everyone to know that we are going live from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So wherever you're watching us from, make sure you let know. I put this ticker down at the bottom that gives you some hashtags. So if you're looking to watch other episodes, you can go back, just go to Google, search on Google hashtag ThatKimberly, Industry Live, and all the other places that we've been going live will come up so you can pick and choose. If you want to be a guest or know somebody who wants to be a guest, you can go to this link right here. It's not clickable, but you can just type that link in and get some free resources as well as sign up to be a guest on any of our lives, or just put the person name in the actual comments. That would be great. So anything before we have Ryan jump on here that I missed?
I don't think so. I had the great pleasure of speaking with Ryan just a few days ago, and I think our audience is going to be really excited to meet him.
Well, awesome. Well, you guys have fun.
Okay, talk to you soon. There he is.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Nice to see you face to face.
Same here. And I'm so excited being on Industry Live today. I've been having a little technical issues. So if I stop or start getting weird, it's either me or my system. So who knows what's going on today?
And I won't know what's going on. You're the smart guy, so you'll have to figure it out, okay?
That's a story of my life. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, dear. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. I went out for a run early this morning. I'm in New Jersey. It's beautiful out. I really, hey, we talk about caregiving. Caregiving is stressful. The best thing you can do for yourself is get outside and touch some grass,
That's exactly right. As we get kicked off, I thought maybe I'd give you a chance to kind of give an introduction of yourself. When I first read about Ryan and then sent him a note, I think I humbled him a little bit. He doesn't take his own, what would I say, like pats on the back. So I'll let you start and tell us what you've been into the last few decades, obviously, which led to this wonderful concept that you're going to kind of tell and teach us about.
Well, that's a great segue, right? I mean, you did. I was embarrassed. You brought up a lot of things, and I never really thought of it like that. But I really do appreciate it,
Ryan. You've done a lot of great things. So I'll let you just kind of kick us off where you want to start.
Well, I guess the best way to start is belief systems. So part of it is, what do you believe? And for me, I believe in giving back. So I've always been very active in the community. And whether it's, being a scout leader or a coach for soccer or baseball or even in politics, I believe it's really important to give back. And how do we go about helping people? And on the other hand, I've also been in technology for 30 years, specifically, that fancy stuff, IoT and smart home and all that stuff. And I wrote a book on it. And kind of, Caregiver Smart Solutions comes from a problem that I had, which was my father, having cancer. And when he comes home from his chemo treatments, I have no idea how this guy is doing. I don't know if he was up all night or whatnot. So it's a kind of, how do you combine your belief of helping people and kind of like mission driven with technology, because that's what I know. So that's really where I come from. And for me, it's all about helping people. How can I, especially in this world, learning about caregiving and learning how stressful caregiving is, how can I use the best of my abilities to help as many people as possible? So that's kind of the meat of it.
Well, one of the great stories you had told me was, and again, where I think some of our audience can really step into your shoes, was designing some of this great technology for smart homes and then standing with your own father and not being able to help him. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, it's amazing because when you come from, I want to say, that side, it's amazing what we were doing. And I'm a big Disney guy, so I love Walt Disney. I love Disney World. That's my thing. But he says that if you can dream it, you can do it. And I've always been like that. I've always been a tinkerer. I've always been a technology, and I've always been pushing the envelope, from the late 80s all the way through today. So it's always about, how do I challenge, or how do I solve problems? And that's kind of where that technology came in. And then, with my father, it gets personal.
Yeah.
You go from fun and a tech kind of guy to, well, now it's personal. And what I learned really quick is, over here, there's nothing that's helping me. How can I leverage technology to help me as a human? And in my case, how is dad doing? Did he get up, or has he been thrown up all night because of chemo? And how do I answer those questions? And that's where that came from.
So then, were you a man on an island? Did you have your current team? I think you had shared you've been an entrepreneur your whole life. So you had your own smart home technology company.
Correct.
Which then you're standing with your dad and you're thinking, how do I pair the two of these?
That was a very funny first couple of weeks or months, because, I tried to use off-the-shelf items. I do what everybody does. I'll put a camera in there, and
Oh, like a nanny cam or a baby. Yeah.
right. That lasted.
You didn't want to watch dad all the time.
10 to 15 seconds. I had a dish towel put over it the first day, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay. And I go over there, it's a dish towel. I'm like, come on, Dad. The next day, there's a dog toy in front of it. So clearly the guy has a sense of humor. And I realized very quickly, there is appropriate technology and not appropriate technology. So, my father, as with millions of other people, we don't want to be spied on. I don't want to be spied on. I don't want to be looked at. I don't want to be listened to. It's our home. So that kind of changed things for me. And it was a combination of that. And you don't know my father, but let me tell you something. He's not going to wear anything. Matter of fact, he's not going to do anything I ask.
Yeah.
He's not going to change who he is, which is fine. That's great. So the challenge really was, how do I give myself that peace of mind? How do I help dad be independent? Because that's what he wants. We all yearn independence and dignity. How do I do that with a technology background? And it started with duct tape, lots of duct tape, but the end result ended up working out pretty well. So it really is, how do you solve problems? And I know for myself, my original problem is how is dad doing? Because, he doesn't live with me. He is, thank God, in the same town, but he also does a snowbird thing. So 6 months out of the year, he's not around. He's not even close. And I still want to know that he's okay. Or if something is going on, I want to get ahead of it. And how do I do that?
So you had one of the most stubborn customer bases possible, right, when you got started. So tell us, if you will, because I am really interested, and I do think the audience would want to actually kind of know, will you walk us through just kind of how it works, and what is the expectation from your dad or the person you're caring for? And then, again, the caregiver, all they need is their smartphone, right?
Right. Yeah. So I guess let's think about the whys, right? The problem is our loved ones are living alone at home, right? And that may or may not be with you. It could be in the same town. It could be, a couple miles away. It could be a couple of states away. So the first problem is that our loved ones are home alone, living on their own. And the second problem is, there's kind of a circle of care, whether it's myself, I'm an only child, but if I had siblings, or it could even be a doctor, we need information. And I the information, it gives us the ability to make the best possible decisions for our loved one. And with that information comes clarity. So it's kind of like the clarity of care. How do I, whether it's for myself, for my father, or even for the doctor, if dad normally gets up once a night and now he starts getting up 3 or 4 times a night, is that something you want to know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you can take that and do an action, right? You can bring dad to Minute Clinic and have him checked out, but you can also have that conversation with the doctor, whether it's, too many bathroom visits, not enough. What if dad's not eating enough? Has his appetite changed? What's going on? So it's really about what they call activity of daily living, ADLs. And basically it's your habits. It's what do you do every day? What's normal? And then what's not normal. And the one thing I learned about this industry is they've got a lot of fancy terms. ADL, is it chronic? Is it acute? Think of it like this. Did dad fall? I definitely want to know that. I want to know that right now. That's, acute. Chronic is over time. So am I seeing changes over time? And can I want to say map that? Is it good or is it bad? I mean, hey, listen, we're getting a little bit older and we might be getting a little bit slower and we might need a little more help. That's normal. That's fine. But if something, as I said, like bathroom visits go from once a night to 3 times, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
So that's the essence of what we're doing, is we are giving the caregivers the information that they need to make the best possible decision for their loved ones. And then the question is, well, how do we do it? And the how is we use tiny non-invasive sensors, and they're placed discreetly around the home, and they are monitoring that person's habits. Does that make sense?
Yes. So can I ask, if your dad were to use the restroom or go to the refrigerator, or what does he then have to do? Is he the administrator?
Great question.
Okay.
Nothing.
Oh,
Because I learned very early on that, and I learned it with my grandmother too. She's 97 years old, and she's not going to do anything she doesn't want to do.
no,
Period.
that's my first question here. How did you talk dad into, again, right,
Right.
reporting on himself, right? Okay.
Right. So, and it comes down to the fascinating thing that I've learned is it's 80% psychological. And I understand it, right? They've been independent forever. They don't want to be a burden on you. So they don't want to tell you that they're having a problem or they fell. Remember, they've been around for 60, 70, 80, 90 years. It's kind of like, I've got this, not a problem. So for us, we want to be that buddy or that support. We are really a caregiver support system. And for my father or my grandmother, it's the buddy system. It's, hey, listen, God forbid something happens, I've got your back. Because we all know the story of the person that God forbid fell, between kitchen and bathroom or wherever, and they weren't wearing a pendant and they couldn't get to the phone or a pull string or anything like that. Something like that you want to know about. And God forbid, we hear the stories that person wasn't found for hours or a day later. That should never happen. So now, using the technology, that's the good news, right? The good news is the technology is here that will automatically get that information right on your smart device immediately. And that's really the biggest problem, right? What we need is, whether you're here or at work, I need to know how my loved one is doing right now.
Yeah.
Not in an hour, not when I get home, not when I go to the doctor. Like right now, is dad okay? Yes, great. I can get back to work.
Well, and you mentioned the word, and it didn't hit me right off, but they're sensors. So they're sensing what's happening. So then the reporting. So what would a home look like? Where would those devices, those sensors, is it something that can be customized?
Yeah. So what we have is, it's called the Core Kit. The Core Kit covers basically 80% of all households. And the interesting thing is, it doesn't matter if mom is in, a single family home where you grew up in, or if she's in an apartment, a condo, a townhouse, even an assisted living facility. Because the problem is when that person closes a front door, you don't know what's going on, right? We can make the phone call. Hey, mom, how are you doing? And you're always going to get, I'm fine. And that goes back to the psychology, right? They don't want to burden you. They've been around forever. I've got this. That's okay. And that's fine. We want to enable them. We just want to support them. So for us, using tiny non-invasive sensors, they are in all the main rooms, because I understand that our loved ones believe that they're safe at home. Even if you can get them to wear a wearable, what we've learned is when they go home, they take it off because, hey, it's my house. I'm safe. Nothing ever happens here. Unfortunately, most events happen in the home. So how do we passively support our loved ones? And for us, it's these little sensors. Matter of fact, they're about the size of a quarter. Let me show you really quick. Okay. I don't know. Can you see that? Oh,
yeah, it's kind of
wonderful green screen stuff. Okay.
Green screen.
Let me see if I could do it better. Since I am Ryan Hurd, the smart guy. Let's see if this works. There we go. Can you see that? Okay. No. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. Oh.
No, we've just removed you.
What are you going to do?
There you go.
Okay. So the kit, what I can show you, because the funny thing about it is the box is white, and so is my background.
Yeah, that's right. Your shirt is dark, so if you keep it there, you go. Yeah.
There you go. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is a quarter. This is our sensor.
Okay.
Why is that important? Well, it goes back to what I said before. Nobody wants to be spied on. So for us, it's really important to use the smallest possible sensor, yet the strongest one, to see movement in the house. It's not a camera. It's not a listening device. All it is collecting that data, right? And data is information. So we can know that dad's okay. So whether it's, that person is cooking, we actually have a sensor right here. Let's see if this works. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually a temperature and humidity sensor. What do we use it for? Well, on one hand, we want to know how hot or cold it is in the house. So let's say mom is in Arizona right now. I have no idea how hot it is in Arizona, but I do know it's probably really hot. So if it's 100 degrees outside, that is actually something I want to know. And more importantly, inside, if it's 80 degrees, I want to know that too, because it probably should be 70, or, something's going on. So that's, if it gets too hot inside, I need to know that. And the reverse. So if it's in the winter and mom is in Michigan and it's 19 degrees outside, I want to know. And if it's 50 degrees inside, we probably have a problem. So it's a combination of all of these. And again, they say activity of daily living, whether it's how hot or cold it is inside, whether it's did mom take a shower, because hygiene is really important. Every couple of days, it's really important. Are they using the facilities normal? Are they normal, or did they not go to the bathroom for a day or two? Are they eating? Did they leave the refrigerator open? Did they just walk out the front door? Is the stove on? All of these things that we normally do and we all take for granted with our loved ones, hey, listen, I'm getting much more forgetful. So we're just worried about them, and we want to make sure that we've got their back. If anything happens, we're on it.
And is there an emergency alert of any sorts that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for us, again, we believe a couple of main things. That's number one, you're not going to change the habit of a 70, 80, 90-year-old person. So that's out the window. Number two, you're not going to make them wear something if they don't want to wear it. Okay. So for us, we kind of look at it as, I want to say, an onion, right? So it's different levels. So if that person is in the house and God forbid there's a problem, we actually do have emergency buttons, and there are these red buttons. And for us, you put one in the bathroom, maybe in the living room, next to their favorite chair, and maybe another one in the bedroom. And if there's a problem, and mom can get to it, she can definitely push the button, and the app on your phone is going to tell you right away, and you can give them a call. But God forbid if that person falls and they can't get to the button, that's all right. Because we're using all these sensors around the house, we can tell if that person
Happening.
fell. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be notified right away as well. So it's really the best of both worlds. And it's also, it's 2023. So now is a time when that technology has finally gotten to the point, and all that smart stuff, the AI and machine learning, all of that stuff can
Yeah.
actually work for us. And this is really an interesting time that it's finally caught up.
Well, let me ask you this. Some people know and some do not. I lost my mom about 1.5 years ago, and it was,
I'm sorry.
um, that's okay. She was in and out of different nursing facilities and home care, and my sister was her caregiver, and we
Right.
didn't even know something like this was available. And I'll tell you, to have it in some of those care facilities, is there any sort of privacy that we infringe on? Is there, I mean, we paid big bucks for that room that mom
Yeah.
and dad are in at that facility. Do we have the right to take a private product like this? And again, we're looking after mom and dad, but we're also looking after who's looking after mom and dad.
Right.
Yeah.
So the simple answer is it's fluid. And
Okay.
what I mean by that,
Yeah.
so let's take an assisted living facility. So for the most part, things are fine in there, but unfortunately at night, they don't have as much staff, and it's still
Right.
the same problem, right? Mom closes that door to her residential unit, and you just want to know that mom's okay.
Hmm.
So in that case, it's definitely something that you want to use, because you still have the same issue. I don't know if mom's okay. Maybe mom is not a morning person. Maybe she doesn't leave her residential unit until after 1 o'clock, which is fine, because
Yeah.
during the day there's a lot of eyeballs on the whole place. And she can come out, and then when she comes back in at 8, 9 o'clock, well, you know that she's home. And then when she goes to bed, you know that she goes to bed. In a nursing home situation, it's different because the way that the staff work. So it's probably not appropriate in a nursing home situation, but definitely whether it's the single residential home, condo, whatnot, independent living, assisted living, it's appropriate for all of those uses, especially because it's not a camera and it's not a listening device. So it's a passive caregiver support system.
Well, that's right. Well, believe it or not, Ryan, we've been talking now for a little over 20 minutes.
Wow.
I know, right? I want to make sure I give you time to discuss anything out there, any ways we can kind of help get the word out um, to businesses, to
Yeah. So a couple of interesting things that I've learned, actually.
Mhm.
Number one, and I'm going to start with caregivers because I get it. Caregiving is stressful. So we have to work on ourselves. If, as they say, when you're on a flight and you're putting the mask on, you got to put the mask on yourself before you help somebody else. And caregiving is the same way. We have to take care of ourselves so then we can take care of somebody else, because it is that stressful. So whether you want to meditate, go out for a run, a walk, whatever you do, I definitely believe do what you got to do so you can then help that person. And number two, there was this report from Harvard that was really interesting. And what it is, it talks about how caregiving is affecting the workforce, especially now after COVID. So during COVID, it wasn't the best thing in the world, but we were home, and that gave a lot of people the ability to take care of their loved one because it was just more accessible. Now, with companies asking the employees to come back, we have a huge problem. How do employees focus on their job yet know how mom's doing?
Mhm.
And we listen, things are getting more expensive. So a lot of people have to go to work. They can't afford to stay home because that's the whole, there's millions and millions of non-paid caregivers out there. So I think it's really important for companies to start picking up the ball and helping employees, just like they do for childcare, just like they do for gym memberships. Well, now it's kind of that other end of the spectrum through caregiving support. So I really think it's really important for companies to start picking up the slack on that, because let's face it, just like anything else, if you have a happy and healthy workforce, well, now you have a productive workforce. And I think that that speaks volumes about the companies that want to support the people that are caregiving.
I think that's an excellent point. And I think you and I had talked about as well, so many, even younger, being in our 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
60s, we're taking care of elderly parents. And Kimberly is always bringing up such an important point. When we're caregivers for children, you
Yes.
are caregiving for them to go and aspire to greatness. When you're caregiving for a decaying, might be the wrong or ailing or parent, it's really hard to get out of your own psyche that you are loving them to the end. You are loving our
Yeah.
children to the what they can be. So I love that you start with putting it that caregiver is the one that is most important, and this product is to bring that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Caregiver.
And you know what? There is, just to give some shout outs to some other products out there, there's so many products coming into the market that are absolutely fabulous. Matter of fact, here's one. It's Hands-Free Health by Weebee. It's pretty cool. It's like an assistant for your loved one. But another one that I really love.
What are you doing here, Ryan? You selling everybody else's stuff?
Tulsi, you can't see, but
No, I got it. I see
yeah,
it. I see
this
it.
is great. This is what it is a supporting device. And it's basically, I don't want to say a pillow because it's not a pillow,
Okay.
but it's fabulous because especially as we're getting older, our necks are hurting. And again, it's to give our loved ones the independence, the comfort, the love that we all want to do. And that's just the point of it, right? There's so many companies that are coming out now that can actually help our loved ones. And that's why I'm so excited about doing this.
Well, it's a wonderful product. Do you think it'll work in my son's dorm room next year?
Absolutely. But I think your son needs a camera because I'm definitely putting cameras in my kids' dorms rooms.
I don't want to watch Ryan. I don't. I just want to sense out that he's gotten out of bed. He's gotten out of the room. Maybe the temperature's okay in there.
Yeah. But that's why we also have Life 360, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, I thank you so much. I want to share with everybody, seriously, just getting to know you has been so much fun. And all we really did was talk about the product. As we do wrap up here in the end, will you tell everybody a little bit about what are some of the other things you're doing? You already mentioned you're a great dad. You're a scout leader. I'll go ahead and say you're also an Ironman. You have run the New York City Marathon. You are a TEDx speaker. You are an author. I said it to myself, Ryan has the resume I wish I had. I'm working to get all those on there. And that's what had humbled you so much. But what keeps you going? How do you take care of yourself to continue to accomplish personal goals and professional goals?
Right. Well, you know what? I really believe that it's time to change the world for caregiving as a whole. And you hit on the head, whether it's for our kids, whether it's for maybe adult children that are having issues, whether it's for our aging loved ones. I think that coming together, this is a big problem. And I think that we can absolutely solve it, but we can't solve it unless we tell the world about it. And that's really where my ask is. If we can come together and we can really let the world know what we're doing. And this is how we can help as many people as possible. Because the other thing that I learned is it doesn't matter, you know, what race you are, what color you are, what creed you are, what religion you are. Worldwide, everybody has somebody that they love and care about, and they want to make sure they're okay. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to support the caregiving community.
Okay, and one last thing. You're also a public servant, which I don't know if I threw that part in there as well. So as we leave, so you can show everybody what a doer you are. Tell them a little bit about the public service and a little bit about what you did with a bunch of houses in New Jersey.
Well, because we have a flooding issue where I live, I got active in I was elected to be a councilman, and I was deputy mayor and mayor of my township, and very active in elevating homes with federal grants because it was a really big problem and still is, unfortunately. And how do we enable our residents to stay where they're, plus young families and kids? yet get them out of the way of harm with flooding. So we did our best. We're still doing it. It's not just me. It's the entire township. It's the entire council. We've got a lot of people that work really, really hard. But thank you for that. I do appreciate it.
Well, you are a man that gets shit done. I will tell you that. It has been a real pleasure to meet you and anybody out there. I mean, you really have. You've been so cordial. We were on the phone the other day. I'm driving to CVS and Ryan's like, if you can, yeah, I'll keep talking. So I encourage everybody out there to just reach out to Ryan, say hi. He's going to respond. He's going to bring you right in and you'll be an instant friend. Kimberly has thrown up all the contact. Anything else you'd want to shout out here, Ryan, as we're coming to an end?
Yeah, I would love to help anybody I can. If you want to know more about Caregiver Smart Solutions, you can just go to our website. You see it here, caregiversmartsolutions.com. Or you can give us a call at 888-585-5022. Again, that's 888-585-5022. And if you know anybody that needs some caregiving support, please send them my way. If you know any companies, HR, chief people officers, anybody that really should be giving back, please, I want to talk to them. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I'll be in touch soon.